Before I start this video, I have an important thing to tell all of you. As you might have noticed, I haven't really posted any videos talking about my homosexuality in over half a year. And the reason for this is that my entire YouTube channel has been demonetized in August 2019 under the pretenses of me not complying with YouTube's partner program terms. I have contacted multiple people from the YouTube team to get clarity as of which terms my channel didn't comply with, and no one could give me an answer. Which is maybe because I was in fact following every YouTube guideline and never had a single strike on my channel before. I had to wait almost a year for YouTube to monetize my channel in the first place. So when they took away my monetization, I feared it would have been the death of my channel. I mean, they didn't just take away my monthly paycheck, they also just completely killed my morale and motivation to keep doing YouTube videos. Because I was essentially being punished for creating content for their website. I emailed back and forth with various people on the YouTube team and no one could tell me why my YouTube channel was demonetized all of a sudden. And I was trying to tell them that this must have been a mistake because no one knows what's wrong, but all they told me was to reapply in a month for the monetization. You know, in my experience, that would take months to get approved, if at all. There's also a big difference between making YouTube video as a hobby and making YouTube videos as a job. But when you do it professionally and trying to make a living out of it, which is my dream and what I want to do, you have to keep uploading consistently on a schedule and you have to keep the quality up. So that's a lot of work, which means I have to keep working the same way I did before, but without the pay. And I need the pay to sustain this channel and my life. Buying stuff is expensive. So I went to Twitter and created a post calling them out that many of you have retweeted. Thank you so much for that. Until YouTube finally reached out to me and fixed my monetization in a couple days, saying it was a mistake on their part. I was immensely lucky to have gotten my channel back in a couple of days, but it did completely change how I viewed my channel. I was less excited to make YouTube videos because I was constantly worried that the work I did would get immediately demonetized, and I would just sit there thinking, when will they take away my channel again, you know? And I don't know, maybe this is just a coincidence, but every video of mine containing the words lesbian, homosexual, and gay has been demonetized by YouTube. And it's not just my channel. Multiple LGBT channels face the same issues. And the problem with being demonetized is not only that we are not getting paid, as we should be, our videos also don't get recommended to people. So it doesn't reach an audience as well as a monetized video would. I had to wait 1 to 2 weeks for my videos to get manually approved again for monetization. It made me lose such a big part of my viewers and income, which really didn't have to happen. There are times where I will not get paid for months, which is why I'm so grateful for my patrons who are single-handedly sponsoring this entire channel. And I'm also thankful for everyone who sticks around and still watches my YouTube video, because without all of you, I would probably have stopped making videos half a year ago. I want to make the content I want without the fear of censoring, which is why this is my rainbow comeback.
I don't know why I'm singing the French anthem.
No more videos about dating guys. We are homosexuals here, goddammit!
Or straight, bi, pan, ace, whatever you identify as.
Everyone is welcome here. So let's get to the actual video. How anime made me gay. This story took place in my early teenage years. I just want to put a quick disclaimer that I do not want to be associated with teenage me. We're not the same person. She is a different entity. I'm much better now. For one, I have developed my frontal lobe, which helps me make better decisions in life, I think. I gained more life experiences, I believe. And I'm closer to my certain death. So teenage me grew up with no friends. In middle school, I kind of just stayed home all day to watch anime and read manga, I didn't talk to my classmates because the xenophobia was pretty bad. Back then, social media as we know it now, with Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, was either not invented yet or not very widely used. There were also no smartphones, so yeah, wild times. I am also an only child, therefore the only person I talked to was my mom. And like any good Chinese parent, her main way of communicating with me was through yelling at me. And all of this added up caused me to grow up not knowing how to behave properly in social interactions. Every time people started talking to me, I just didn't know how to reply, or I overthink my reply, or I just didn't know what to say, so I just didn't reply at all. At any food places. Yes, what would you like to order? At school. Relachi, do you know how to solve number 8? At social gatherings. Hey, how are you? I wasn't just not replying to them, I stared at them intensely, which is why I went to my school's therapist every Monday when I was 8 to 10 years old. It got a bit better when I hit my teens. What would you like to order? Never mind, I'm not hungry anymore. Relachi, do you know how to solve number 8? I don't know. Hey, how are you? Normal. I always answered normal, because you cannot be good all the time, right? That's a lie. I found that to be so weird. Why is there no guide on how to people? I had to learn everything I knew about social behavior through the only sources I had, anime and manga. Which, if you're familiar with this medium, you'll probably know this is not the best place to learn how to function socially.
この水は肛門から飲む。大丈夫だ。私が口移しする。
濃厚な魚介だしにたっぷりのネギと一さじのニンニク。そして。
This is the dumbest thing I've ever edited. I love anime! When my first year of high school began, we had this weird table layout of a U shape. I was at the end of the U, and on the complete opposite side sat a girl who looked a bit like Avril Lavigne, only way smaller. Now let me tell you something about rock and pop sensation Avril Lavigne. And I'm not talking about 2014 Hello Kitty singing Avril Lavigne.
I'm pretty sure they have replaced Avril Lavigne with a robot lookalike.
I'm talking about early 2000s Avril Lavigne. Nowadays, every teenage girl tries to be, I don't know, Kylie Jenner or something, but back then, why do I say back then makes me feel so old? Back in my days, oh man, that's worse. In the early 2000s, teenage girls tried to look like Avril Lavigne. When I was like, I don't know, 12 years old, I watched every of her music video. I knew all the songs by heart, and back then I didn't even speak English, so imagine that. And I thought back then it was normal to like female idols so much. Like, imagine to be her boyfriend, because as a kid, girl and girl is something I could not even imagine was possible. And then I was sitting at school, and this girl sitting in front of me reminded me so much of Avril Lavigne, and all these weird tingly feelings I had as a kid came back up again. And I was starting to think very unchristian things, like holding her hands before marriage. She was mad cute, okay, and she was the very first in real life girl that I was very attracted to. It was through her that I began to seriously question my sexuality for the very first time, because the default somehow is always heterosexual. You're heterosexual from birth until proven otherwise. That's what society makes you think, at least. I always had a hunch that I'm into girls since I first entered grade school with 6 years old. I was more fascinated by Connie in grade school than that popular boy Steven. But, you know, since I was only 6 years old, I didn't really question it too much. Even though I was very attracted to my Avril Lavigne looking classmate, I still didn't really understand that this means that I'm queer. It's more like I didn't want to understand that this means that I'm queer. If I just heard the word lesbian back then, I would get so scared. I would legit panic. And I thought that meant that I was a homophobe for a while, because phobe, as in phobia, means fear, and homophobe, fear of homosexuals, right? And I thought I was afraid of homosexuality, so I must be homophobe. It was so bad. Even hearing the word makes me so nervous. So one time in German lesson, we read about this short story about a girl who found out she's bisexual. And that girl in the story had the same name as me. I didn't even know what the chances were. I never heard my name anywhere in any textbook ever. And yet someone on this planet decided to put my name in their gay story of theirs. If that ain't destiny. I was cold sweating through the entire class and tried really hard not to stop trembling. A guy was reading the queer story out loud for the class, and every time I heard him saying my name followed by any queer terms, I would tense up. And later that day, the guy who read the text saw me walking past him in the hallway while he was with a group of my other classmates. And he jokingly asked me if I was bi. And he absolutely didn't mean it in a bad way. And thinking back, he probably just wanted to tease me, but I was already feeling so intensely uncomfortable. I just shouted, "No, I'm not gay!" and ran away, which was a very gay thing to do if you ask me now. On one hand, I thought I was definitely not gay because I was fake attracted to guys. With that, I mean I would see some random attractive guy that I know people would be into, and I would purposely say stuff like, "Wow, he's so hot," just to throw people off, you know? I was especially afraid to be gay because my whole entire family is against it. But on the other hand, my Avril Lavigne looking classmate existed. It was so confusing, all these new feelings I had all of a sudden. I never felt like this for anyone. I was fidgeting all over the place, always nervous. My heart rate constantly was on, I don't know, 200, which cannot be healthy. I would want to look at her just as much as possible. And I also had this urge to write down her name multiple times in my textbook with a bunch of hearts surrounding it. But since I wasn't outed and the girl sitting next to me was nosy as heck, I used a code word instead of her name and wrote the word tree a bunch of times with hearts in my notes. So anyone who sees that will just think I'm a big fan of nature, love trees, could literally not live without them. Gee, just hope there will be trees left after the climate change. I wanted to befriend her so badly. My Avril Lavigne looking crush, not the trees. But, you know, just as stated before, I'm not good with people. But some higher power came through and we got grouped together for a school project. Just us two. That's when we first started talking and she randomly asked me if I watched anime. Like, one of the first things she wanted to talk to me about. Me? Anime? Yes, do you watch it? She told me her favorite anime was Inuyasha, so when I came home I looked through every anime magazine I could find. Back then the anime magazines had those posters you can cut out in them, and they were so many. It was like this many posters, it's stacked! I gave it to her at school the next day and her first reaction was confusion, as anyone would be, because this was a concerning amount of Inuyasha posters to give to someone, but then she smiled and thanked me, which made all of it worth it. Who knows, maybe she hung up all 50 Inuyasha posters in her room. No more walls, just posters. I never told her I liked her. I kinda knew I liked her, but I acted like I didn't because I didn't want to. Look, with 15 I was convinced I would die a virgin. Little did I know I would find my first girlfriend a couple months later and also lose my virginity to another girl who was not my girlfriend. Let's back it up a bit. How did a loser like me find a girlfriend back then? I can already tell you it wasn't Avril Lavigne from my school because she had a boyfriend, but it was indirectly through her. She was telling me about this place that sells anime and manga merch called Manga World. She hasn't been to that place either, so we both planned to go there after school. And little did I know that place would be my sexual awakening. The Manga World was in the middle of a mall not far away from my school. As we stopped into the Manga World, the store lady said hello to us and I immediately walked away. Listen. Back then, I was not able to talk to people unprepared. I have not revised the lines in my head yet. This woman came out of nowhere. My shyness got a bit better in high school. I mean, after all, I was hanging out with my Avril-looking classmates after school. So I turned 180 degrees around to face that lady and said hello back, which is a bit of a weird impression to make on someone. After I said hello to the store lady, I immediately walked away again, because that was enough social interaction for the day. Or so I thought. The Manga World wasn't just a place to sell stuff, as I realized. It was more of a hangout spot for weebs. In the left back corner you have the video game nerds, where they play some Smash Bros. Like one of the dudes bought a whole ass TV with him to play Smash with the homies. On the right back side you got all the mangas, and people would just sit on the floor and read or talk to each other. And on the left front side you have all the trading card nerds that play Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, Magic, stuff like that. And the store lady was also there that I walked away from. And on the right front side were all the people who were drawing their manga or OCs, I don't know. It was so exciting because beside Avril, I didn't know anyone who had the same interests as I do. And now I'm standing in this store with people around me who all like the same thing as I did. I play video games, I like trading card games, I draw, I read manga, it's perfect. I went and looked around. I was too nervous to talk to people. Avril was on the complete opposite of the room looking at the mangas. I was way too afraid to talk to her or be close to her, so I was on the opposite end. I just walked through the store, I looked at all their merchandise. They had like this One Piece, Bleach, Naruto bags. And while I was looking at the bags, I wasn't looking straight ahead and I accidentally bumped into someone. I bumped into freaking Kakashi Hatake! He was Naruto's teacher and he stood right in front of me. Okay, the person was some girl dressing up like Kakashi and she didn't even wear the whole costume. But this is my first time seeing someone in a cosplay up close, okay? I was so nervous, but I also got excited. She was the coolest person ever. I mean, come on, she was Kakashi Hatake. Oh my god, you're Kakashi, that's so cool! I know, right? I love Kakashi! Usually I'm not someone who can talk to strangers, and I wasn't shy because I didn't want to talk to people. I was shy because I didn't know how to talk to people. I don't do small talk. I don't see the reason behind small talk, honestly. I still hate it, but god, do I love Naruto. And this girl just gave me back the same enthusiasm, and that gave me back this huge confidence boost, you know? I just loved this place, man. But since Avril Lavigne didn't have this deep interest in anime like I did, like she was more casual about it, she didn't really have a connection to Manga World as I did, because I have certainly found my people. And I went to the Manga World every week from then on. Meanwhile, Avril has dropped out of high school the same year and I never saw her again. But through her introduction to Manga World, I learned to woman up and talk to people on my own. I was still incredibly shy, but I didn't want to be. I wanted to have friends. Just like in animes, I wanted to be the funny, loud, kinda dumb, energetic comic relief person. If I know that I was too scared to talk to someone, I would start playing that character and come up to them like, "Hello, what's up? My name is Rel." And then say something super stupid or random like, "I like your shoulders." It was just way easier to get out of my shell when I have established my role as a dumbass. I felt like when I made any awkward mistakes, it would be fine because I'm that dorky idiot person. Woo. I would sometimes act like I didn't know how to do certain very easy tasks or not know very obvious things just to make people laugh at me. It worked in a way. And sometimes I overcompensated too much with playing the character and people found me annoying, which is again, fair. Trying to come out of my shell with this tactic worked. Essentially, it wasn't just putting up an act, it was more like learning not to take myself too serious. I have found more friends in Manga World than I did in the past 15 years of my life back then. I even had something you could call a group of friends. I met them because one day I saw Kakashi Hatake sitting in the manga corner and chatting with around 6 other people that looked like around my age, and teenage me really wanted to join them, so I used a tactic where I counted to 3, and the moment I counted to 3, I have to do the task. Okay? 1, 2, 3, go! I stood in front of Kakashi and all these strangers. They all paused to look up at me and I farted.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine.
I tried to quickly hide the fact that I just ripped a huge one, but man, that was a really loud fart. As if shouting after a fart will cover it up. Hello, my name is Relachi! I'm not the scientist, man, but I'm pretty sure that's not how it works. That's not how any of this is supposed to work. But hey, guess what? One of the people sitting in that circle I farted in front of, yeah, they gotta be my first girlfriend. Now, how did I find a girlfriend? How did I lose my virginity to my non-girlfriend? And why is my name on YouTube Relachi? This is a story for the next video. Yeah, I know you hate this, I hate this too, but this video is getting really long. I'm exhausted. Thank you for watching. Next video will be out as soon as possible, I promise. Bye.